Hello, YouTube land. This is Brenton coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. Today I have Jerry Klein coming on. He's a researcher from Ohio, and he has some very interesting information to share that I've heard him talking about a few times here and there. And anyway, this is some really good Bigfoot stuff and some Dogman stuff and all kinds of really neat subjects. So anyway, how you doing, Jerry?
Oh, not too bad. How you doing, Brenton?
I'm doing great, man. If you want to, let's kind of just start like with your first encounter and kind of like how you got into this and how you became a knower instead of a maybe it's true kind of guy.
Okay. Well, first of all, I own my own logging company, but anyhow, I never believed in Bigfoot. You know, I heard stories people tell me and stuff. I lived in Michigan, and so I moved back to Ohio because I'm originally from Ohio. So, but I moved back down here to Ohio and started logging again. And I've been in so many woods and walked them. You know, and I'd seen structures like everybody's showing on here and this and that and the other. And I was like, you know, I'd seen them when I was in the woods, but I thought it was just something natural occurrence, you know, old windfalls, snowfalls, snow load. But the more I got to looking into it, you know, after that, you know, but anyhow, I ended up here in Knox County, Ohio. I decided to move here. And I was looking for employment, and I was camping out at a gold camp that we've got down here on the river out of Gambier. And one night, 1:30 in the morning, I was burning a bunch of stuff out of an old trailer that these people would give me that I helped move. I didn't help them move. I just helped them pack up their stuff. They moved to Arizona here from Knox County. And so there's a bunch of old wood and stuff in the back of that trailer, and I was just going to sell it. They told me, here, just take it and sell it. Plus, they paid me, you know, to help them out a little bit. But anyhow, that night at 1:30 in the morning, I heard something like a limb break, and then a snap of a limb, and then like it was coming down the embankment across the river from me. And so I had one of those 6-volt lights, but they're LED, but they take the 6-volt batteries in them. And I turned it on because it was last end of August. It was the last weekend of August in 2013. And I was getting ready to gear up that next day, pack everything up and head to it was called Gold Rush Days up in Butler, Ohio. And so I was gearing up, getting ready for that. Back then I had a brand new quad. I had a brand new cargo trailer. I turned it into like a little camper. And when I can camp out in that, put my gold dredge in there, my quad and everything else. Anyhow, I was packing up at night, but I was sitting there at the chair. They didn't want that fire to get out of hand. One of them logs roll off that fire. So I had to stay up, and then I heard that splashing come across the water. Only like 2 splashes, it sounded like. And I thought, well, it's a big buck. It's got to be a big buck in velvet, you know. So I took the light and hit on it. And when I hit the light on it, it just mid-stopped and stood right there. And I seen the glowing eyes, and I seen the mass of the body. But the skin, you can actually see the light illuminate a little bit through the skin or through the fur, because like I've come to the conclusion now since I've been doing research and since then, is that they shed their hair in the summertime. Not all the way, but, you know, shed it down to like a deer or a horse or, you know, all kinds of other animals do. And it was a male, because I could see his gender down there, you know. And but he has stopped with one leg. His right leg was forward, and his left leg was back, back, he was in like mid-stride, and both of his arms is down, and his hands is past his knees. And he just looked at me, and I kind of for a split second took the light off of him, and the light kind of went off of him, and his eyes quit illuminating red as they went off. And then when I flashed it back real quick, 'cause I was trying to believe what I'm seeing, he looked at me and curled his upper lip up and went, wah, like that at me. And I could see his teeth, and his teeth looked blocked like ours, no canines. So I took off running. I got up, took off running, and run into my trailer. And the door ain't very high on there, and it had just an aluminum door frame. And, man, I cracked my forehead on that door. And I didn't realize I was bleeding. It wasn't enough to need stitches, but that's all you got to barely do is you barely hit your forehead, and it'll bleed like a stuck pig. But I went in there, and I had a loaded shotgun. I loaded it up. I loaded it, and I sat there I had several guns in there with me, too. But I'm sitting out there on the cot, or sitting inside the trailer on my cot. The dog is already in there. He's asleep. He don't even know what's going on. And so I'm sitting there, and I don't hear nothing. So the next day, I just kind of opened the door up. I turned around and looked, my pillow just covered with blood, and I had it caked in my hair. And I kind of poked the door open with the shotgun and looked out, and it was daylight. Went out back, and there was 3 empty water jugs I had on the table, and he had pointed them all indirectly at each other. But at the time before this happened, I got on there on my phone and was watching other researchers and little old women with flutes and pies and going out there and habituating these creatures. And I thought, I had things coming up weird out of my cooler and this and that and the other. So I figured I'd try that, and I finally got a result.
So what do you think? What do you think they point? You said he pointed the gas cans in toward each other.
No, they was empty water jugs. There's empty water jugs. There's 3 of them, and he pointed them all in at each other. Wonder why
he would do that.
I don't know. And one of the lids had been screwed off of it. I don't know. And unless he was making some kind of glyph out of them to me, I don't know. So I didn't understand.
When you were looking at him, was this a typical Patty-looking type, or was it, the more rounded?
On the Patty film, how Patty kind of looks like an hermaphrodite. She's got a mustache, bearded face, but she got boobs, okay? Right. This one here did not have no facial hair around under his nose of a mustache. He was what I would classify as the Amish-style looking Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's got the beard, but no mustache. Okay. And he didn't have that. But he had, his nose went up a little bit, kind of like, I ain't going to say a gorilla, but it just kind of pointed upward a little bit, but it was flattened down more towards the peak, or between his eyes. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing kind of how different some of them are. How tall do you think this one was? To go over
Doug Waller from Sasquatch come out there because I couldn't get a hold of nobody from the BFRO. I called him for weeks, and Doug Waller at the time, right after I called him and got a hold of him, because I looked him up on the site, and he come out the next day. He was out there the very next day, and he went down there at the river to actually there's a gravel bar with overhanging limb where I could measure how tall this creature was. This Bigfoot Sasquatch was there was an overhanging limb, and I told Doug he was as tall as that overhanging limb. Well, Doug is like 6'2", I think. But he took a stick up there, a measuring stick,
right,
and just held it up there to that limb. And what we could figure was anywhere between 9 and 10 foot tall.
Goodness, that's a huge. Golly. I mean, I think it's hard to even fathom. Most people are sitting in a room right now with an 8-foot ceiling. Now imagine a head that's 2 feet above that. That is a monster of a,
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how big some of these things are, man. They're true giants. That's just fact, But
Yeah.
so you saw this thing and you knew that they were out there at this point, and
Oh yeah.
so you kind of started doing a little bit of habituating and leaving some stuff and things like that. Is this the same place where you had the 911 call?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually where I was camping at this weekend. I had to get over my fears out there.
Really?
And everything and anything could have went wrong this weekend of out there trying to get. Now I did a video of one standing across the river. It's only thing I could do was do a comparison from the next day because I was getting aggravated because the video I was going to do the video. I seen it, but I could not tell. It was like only 100 yards across the river from me, maybe 70 yards. But it was just standing there and would not move. And then I said, well, I'm going to come back up to the same spot, go down here and look for prints on the gravel bar down here, where everybody had been, gold prospecting. And I'll come back up and do a comparison. Well, my buddy, I'm not going to mention his name, he called me, and I just let the phone ring, but it knocked me off my video. So I started another video, showed the footprint that I found out there. It was a 17-inch print on the gravel bar, and then went on about my way about telling how they used to, when I was camping down there after I had my sighting, and casted my very first footprint out there, before the sighting, which was a 13-inch print. Actually, it was a print and a half, but I broke the other half of it. And I still got it. Somebody broke in my house and broke my stuff, stole a lot of my stuff from out of the house here. But anyhow, I glued this one back together because it was thick enough. Well, the heel part of it come off again, but it's no big deal. You can sit there and, you can make out what it looks like. Even Meldrum looked at it at one of the conferences and said it looked like a juvenile to him, the 13-inch one. But anyhow,
so you were back down there one night, and you've got this on your channel, so maybe I'll put a link or something. Do you care if I put a clip in of that phone call?
No,
basically,
no, that,
maybe
that
put a
911.
Yeah, maybe put a clip of the phone call, but they can go to watch the whole phone call. And then this other little thing with the nubs on his head, might like put a clip or something just to kind of show, and then they can go to your channel. I'll leave a link to your channel. But anyway, that's how I first discovered you. Is someone sent me, one of your fans sent me a link to that 911 call, and you were basically down there at the river. And I guess you had went to bed in that camper, and they started harassing you. Can you try and tell us something about that?
Yeah, I quit habituating them, and we hadn't had that much gold prospector activity down there. So I found a place here in town, moved in here in Mount Vernon, which is in Knox County. So the research area of the gold claim was only 10 minutes away from here. I could be out in the country in 5 minutes in any direction from this town. It's not very big. So I went back down there on the river that night, decided, I'll just camp. I was going to I did put out an audio recorder, and I got part of it. I got it on I switched it over on cassette tape. I still got the original off of that night, and up till the deputy sheriffs got there. But when I got back in there, I left the trailer connected to the truck. All I did was just put jack stands behind it, and then I just took the front. You got the tongue jack in the front. I left it connected to the truck. I just jacked the front up just a little bit to level it off. So I went to bed about 9 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock at night on the dot, because I had my phone on, it was illuminating like I'm talking to you right now. I was talking to 911 dispatcher as this thing's rocking like hell, and I noticed, I've listened to this 2 or 3 times, and I don't like listening to it. It scares the shit out of me, excuse my language, to listen to this all over again. And I've had to listen to it when I put it on YouTube, because people keep asking, well, what do you got it under this time, or with this and that and that. And I've just got one of those yellow Bigfoot things there. I think this time it says the attack on my camper trailer. The first time it got criticized, I took it down, and I had it underneath of the 911 call. The attack of the 911 call attack of my trailer. So I think now it's just all anybody's got to do. It's so easy. I mean, people get on my channel all the time and say, I cannot find it on there. And all they got to do is scroll. I can go on yours and find anything that I want to find of a certain one of yours. Go right to your channel, scroll down, and I'll see, okay, there's the one I want to see. I mean, and I'm not knocking my viewers for that or anything. It's just, I mean,
Well, I'll leave a link to it in the description. But, I mean, if you go to your channel, you scroll down till you see that sign,
Right,
it's
yeah.
like
It's a little yellow sign with a Bigfoot that's kind of,
yeah, like a caution
aimed
sign.
out, Yeah.
But you called these, the dispatcher from 911 people, and they were trying to figure out what was going on. And you're down here at this river, way out in the country, and all the time she's on the phone with you and the other police officers trying to find their way down there. And in the meantime, You're freaking out because they keep rocking your trailer and looking in the windows, and she's like telling the Bigfoot or the police officers, he says that there's a Bigfoot, attacking a trailer. How many do you think there were attacking the trailer and rocking it?
There was 2 of them there, but there was only handprints on the one side, which was from the big one that left the 17-inch track. Now, the 17-inch track, I actually got to dig it out of my archives off of Facebook, and I replaced it to my Knox County Bigfoot Organization Knox County Bigfoot Organization Ohio Facebook page, or it's my group page on there, and it's actually on there. Or you go to my you got your profile on Knox County Bigfoot Organization. You can go to it too, and it'll show the casting that I made off of it too, right next to the 13-inch casting. Just if anybody goes to, look up my profile and want to ask to join, and they could go there and see my profile they'll show, one part of it's showing me dredging, one part of the profile is my Knox County Bigfoot Organization T-shirt. That's my logo I've got on there. And underneath that is a series of researchers that I'm with, friends with here in Ohio. And then under that is actually the pictures, it squares them off of the 17-inch print and the 13-inch print. Now, I had another one that I had that was 13, but it was wider, and it got broke too as well in the break-in here at my house.
So these police officers are on their way, and you're on the phone, and these Bigfoot keep, every once in a while you can hear it, if you're listening careful, you can hear your trailer start, like crunch, 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 So these things are trying to tip your trailer and they're looking in, and you're scared. Obviously, you're scared because it's a very scary thing. So when they finally do, I kept hearing you like, why in the hell are they on foot? Because they parked and walked down there, didn't they?
No, they were starting to come down the bike path, which is a mile back in there. And I'm telling them, don't come down the bike path. They can drive in the lower drive. I told them that like 4 times. The drive down by the river.
And plus, they're walking. I mean, there's Bigfoot out there on the property. That's stupid to be outside. You didn't go outside and walk.
Dispatch said, well, we got a couple up on the bike path walking back to you. And I said, why? They can drive back here. I drove my Z28 out there the day before,
Okay. After fiddling around with the phone, I went it was weekend before last. I've had the CD again since I took it. Somehow it got took off of YouTube and a couple other of my videos, and I did not take them down. I have even asked people if they have even since seen the videos, and they said they have not. But this is a 911 call. I'm going to go ahead and play it again. I'm not editing or doing anything. I'm letting it play all the way to the end from the beginning. So it's going to be quite a while till I upload this. So
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Yeah, that's Mount Vernon.
Okay, what's the address?
I'm down here in Denver. It's 10444, but I'm at Main Road and Louisville.
I can't understand you, sir. Where are you at?
My guy something's trying to put my damn trailer over and it's huge.
Okay, where are you at?
Water!
Sir, I need your... Yeah, I understand something's going on. What's the address?
It's 1044 Roosevelt Road. It's the bottom of the road down there. I'm a health supervisor, Bigfoot research. Just trying to shove my trailer over right now.
Okay, but I tell you what, I can't understand what you're saying on the address.
I got me and my dog. It's 1044 Monroe Mills Road.
Monroe Mills Road. Okay, I got you that time.
I don't know what the hell it is. Somebody I do, there was such a so sometimes with my
if I had some
going on it. I mean, the world
Mills Road. Mail line screaming so loud I can't hardly understand what he's saying.
41's clear. The subject's going to take their stuff back. Just let them know we'll document this one.
You're clear, 2202. Okay, somebody tried to...
You don't know that has going on something. Every time I put my damn trailer over.
Who is it?
I do big tech research and this thing's trying to shove it over. Hey, it's trying to do Hey! I got 2 more members here. I just closed the one here and come back around the other side.
Okay, I got him.
42 Royal. That's not the right tag or something.
4,200 units. Callers advising Bigfoot is trying to push his trailer over at 10444 Monroe Mills Road.
It's telling us the Gulf Prospect OSPA. It's the bottom of the river back here.
All right.
I just read down that sleep and woke up and it's Oh my gosh, it's 27 over again. Something's going on.
Internal 745-333. Internal 745-333.
You still there?
Yeah.
You said it's 10444 Monroe Mills Road.
Yeah.
What's your name?
It's the bomb. It's not John Lewis. It's around John Lewis's property, but it's we got a tent down here, and I'm by myself. And it's so we're trying to get my damn trailer. I'm standing upright here, and I'm under the killer, but.
What's your name, sir? What's your name?
My name is Jerry Klein.
Jerry what?
Jerry Klein. C-L-I-N-E.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, 41 units, 75.
Is something still outside your trailer?
Can you head north?
Yeah. I didn't bring my shot down or nothing. I totally forgot it, and I didn't think about it. I bought a campfire, and me and my dad got here, and
Okay.
the first time I've already seen one last September in October. I'm just shook up my big car. I seen him in the middle of the river last August, about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And went down, oh my God, it's shaking my trailer again. It's what?
He's still yelling at it. I can hear a ruckus in there, and then he yells, "Get out of here." He says it's Bigfoot. Yeah, I got officers on the way out there.
I'm gonna get over there right now. I'm about knock my trailer on my door side. Did I go in now?
Okay.
Has
this happened
the
before?
number closed now.
Has this happened before?
No. Not like this.
Okay. Is anybody else there outside your trailer that you know of? Any other people?
Dude, I'm not down here, my dog, and he's underneath the bed.
Okay. I have officers on the way down there. I got 3 of them coming down there.
11 on his current address is either 47 in Columbus Road. So make contact with us tomorrow.
Now, let's see. I'm looking at the map here. You're back a long lane, aren't you?
Yes, we're back home back here. And I don't know, I heard 2 of them. One of them was growling earlier through the window. And I come up in the curve and stuff, and then I just dozed off to sleep, and I woke back up, and then he's trying to rocking the hell out of my trailer.
Yeah, this is going to be the first driveway. It's going to be south of where Corey Chapel and New Gambier come together. It'll be on your east side. It's a long lane.
I'll do it again.
Here's back to your trailer.
Go! God, get! God! Get the hell out of here! Leave me alone!
Traffic stop.
Go ahead.
95 Village Parkway, Signal 7, Frank Union William, 1392, Red Pontiac, 1
2208. You sure could.
Somebody with her, man.
42, if you haven't already, I'm en route to Monroe Mills Road. Did you say that was Monroe Mills and Corey Chapel?
Yeah, it's just south of Corey Chapel and New Gambier Road there. Driveway is. It's on the east side of the road.
Clear.
people out there messing with you?
No, it's not. I see two big red eyes in the back of my window on the left side. And when I stuck the flashlight up, I got the flashlight on now. And I got 10 windows in here. I can't see in. Oh my God, we're shaking around again. Come on, get it out. Let me get out here.
Dick Walker, Robert Nora, 94218.
I put dogs under my car. And I ain't got a shotgun or nothing out here. Get the fuck out of here. Come on.
No, are you armed at all, sir?
No, I'm not. I ain't got nothing. He's been trying to tell me help. They probably took it over if they want to.
4,200 to respond units.
Fucking hell out of here.
He has no weapon. Okay, Jerry, I got officers on the way, buddy. You said you saw somebody looking in your window?
And he had two big red eyes.
Two big red eyes?
Yeah, just like the one I seen last August.
Okay. And you said you were asleep before this and they woke you up?
Yeah, stay away with me, please. My dog's out of my cot. I got two on. He's not paying nothing. He's out of the cot. He knows what the hell they are.
Okay.
Please stay alive with me.
Yeah, I will. I will.
I'm sitting there on the floor of the trailer now. I'm scared to death. I hope my dog finally just come out.
Okay.
I ain't getting no activity now. I'm not shaking the thing around. I hope they fucking left. I got an audio recorder out there down in our pavilion. Hopefully it picked us all up, man. Tell me what, I ain't doing this shit no more.
Give it up.
It scared the shit out of me. I'm going to stay right here in the trail. I ain't moving until somebody shows up.
Okay. We've got people on the way out there.
444.
A firm 10444. It's a long lane on the east side of the roadway. You'll just stay to your right. There's a branch that goes to the left. Stay on your right.
Tell me to see the sign, the OSCA prospector sign out there. We got a white sign out there. It's the OSCA. My dog, he's crawling all over me. He knows what the hell's going on. He knows what these things are.
2212. All right, you should see them coming back there. They're on their way.
361.
361.
Signal 35 in the warning.
2213. You see the car lights yet?
I can't see nothing yet.
Okay.
I'm back in the just like pump by the flu.
Got one?
That's me, baby. I'm a fucking ass. Son of a bitch. Go on. Go on.
Jerry, the officers are coming back there.
I'm 41 here.
I'm just looking in the window and I'm just looking out.
Is there a closed gate back there somewhere, Jerry?
No.
No.
We're in the pond going up John's driveway. We're in the water driveway.
He said there's no closed gate back here.
we're down by the river. It's the only guy that comes down by the river.
12, go ahead.
I'm back 3-5. We passed all the time.
Come on. My poor dog's scared too.
Probably scared you yelling too.
Down there and some high-powered shit or something get these fuckers off me down there. I see them running in there and see another one there.
4140 cover. The driveway split, and if I stay to the right.
A firm.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're in the right location. We're just going to get on foot and walk back. We see a trailer from our location.
Okay, it should be all the way back to the end of the driveway. He's inside, he's still pretty shook up.
I can't see the headlights.
Now, headlights?
Yeah.
Okay, now the officers are coming back there, so.
I'm going to come back here because I can't see it now. I got my tinted windows here. Man, I've got the faces right up in the fucking window. I will right now. They're shaking
rent
the
there?
fucker around like a little rag doll.
Do you rent there?
And what's that?
Are you a renter back there?
No. I belong to the club back here. We just got a small golf club, but I've been doing Bigfoot research because I had my sighting last August.
Oh, you do Bigfoot research?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. Fuck you! No! They keep looking in here.
Love you. Hey, now there's officers coming back there. It might be them.
No, it's not. They're there. They're doing nothing. It's darker.
10444.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You should be able to hear him. He's carrying on inside the trailer.
I'm tired around the fucking way. There's a fucking river keep going over there in the corner.
Make contact with the homeowner here. He was by the camera down by the river. Not in the road.
You're clear in 2217. Are you down by the river?
Yeah, man, I'm down here. The line that says OSPA. There's Klein. That's what it says. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys. They've been back here before. Last year they come down here to a girlfriend. Now I'm like, now I'm down here trying to get some Bigfoot started out here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm not doing.
Listen to the static at the end here. Hear it? That is the infrasound phone.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm still here, sir. I'm still here.
4842 advised 292. That vehicle is being advised.
You could hear a growl. I just heard a growl going through there. I just heard it.
It's pretty quiet now.
Because I've never had this radio up this high before. It's cranked up.
But I got to turn my flashlight on my big light. Every now and then I'll see one and see their eyes illuminated through the window.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
These things, I'm going to shove my damn trailer over on me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have a car back there? Do you have a vehicle back there with you?
I had my pickup truck, yeah, but, and I have been drinking, but I'm telling you, I'm not seeing shit. This shit happens.
Yeah.
I just want to get us the hell out of here. Somebody get me the hell out of here.
So you're not going to stay back down there no more, huh?
Oh, hell no.
No.
I'm done. Yeah, no, this night. No. No, I'm not going to stay down here tonight. Or any other night. Nope.
Yeah.
Each thing good, man. I'm telling you what.
Where are you from?
Mount Vernon.
Okay, Mount Vernon. You're not too far away then.
No. I live off of Maplewood Avenue. I don't, headlights.
Okay, well, you won't. They're going to be on foot coming down to your cabin. I thought you were initially...
I did not realize that. I just give out where I live.
I'm going to put behind trailers what I got, but I put it was right down the lane. The lane is good. It's gravel and everything.
Can they get to you from the bike path?
You'll have to cross over the bike path 11.
They can drive back here. I drove my Camaro back here. I'm looking out the window now. Hey, there's no one out there. What the fuck? Get the hell out of here! Come on, get the hell out of here!
Correct side of the roadway. You take the...
Was there another one out there?
They're out there, but these things, and they're stalking the fuck out of me. Man, these guys, they're not coming out here.
I kept seeing the red eyes going back and forth across them little tiny windows I had in there.
You can't run and go back to the window. They should have looked out the window.
Yeah.
You go. Well, my poor dog, he see him too. He's scared to death. Man, there's two of them out here.
Two of them out there?
Yeah, there's two of them. There's one in one window and another one in the other one.
Huh.
Man, you guys gotta get somebody down here.
Yeah, we got people on the way. They're trying to get down there to you.
They can drive back here. It's a gravel drive. It's perfect drive.
Okay, well,
I drove my Camaro down there yesterday.
Take the bike path. You have to go about half a mile.
God.
Yeah.
What are they fucking walking?
In there with the red roof.
Jesus Christ.
gravel.
We're quietly down the drive. It may go where we need to.
Yeah, there is.
A lot of people advise there's some type of dirt path apparently it goes back there.
Actually, a gravel path.
It's gravel. They can drive back here. They just put new gravel in down here. Some small. Okay, I see headlights. Thank God I see freaking headlights. Oh, God! Oh, my God!
You see headlights now?
Man, there's still cameras down here, thank God.
Okay. And you said there was two people back there, you thought?
What's that?
You said you thought there was two people back there?
No, not two people. Bigfoot moving about sickness. He stopped at the dock and ripped my damn trailer over.
What color's your trailer?
It's black.
Black?
Yes.
41 and 5 minutes.
I just lay there with sleep and these things started rocking the hell out of my trailer.
Okay, you should have officers out there now. There won't be
I
big.
got him.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Please, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You were 7201.
Okay, I can just clarify what's front of you then.
Hold on a minute, Mike. Hold on.
So, what you got right now?
Hold on a minute.
I'm not like,
Hold on a minute.
11 at 71 is Jerry Klein on Gambier. Oh, it was 7. It was Edward Boyd neighborhood 720.
Man, I'm telling you what. Nobody's got it for 10 minutes.
Hello?
To rip over my trailer. Down there. And I got my audio recorder set up down there. These things trying to rip my damn trailer over. Come here, bud. Come on. Come here. I can play back and forth. I can, you know.
And to check, see how the weather was, the river and everything. And the drive back there is real nice. It's real groomed. It's graveled. And, you know, and...
So when the cops
it's
finally
just,
get there, like they finally get there, what did they say?
No, well, they had a ODNR officer met up with them, and he broke down there with one of them, and then they all searched around. One run off across the bike path there, and what he said he couldn't explain. He come back, he was cut up, where he'd run through the thorns and everything, one of the officers, and he said, I can't explain it, guys, and then, you know, but the thing of it is, to where you could see their headlights coming down that lane, these creatures could see those headlights at least a half mile away. And it dead stopped right then and there. So the officer was by the bike path, that went over the bike path. I don't know if he was in a cruiser or if he was one that come down the bike path. But apparently wanted to run up that way and up the landowner's pasture field there. So, when he got over there, he was out of breath. They just started to basically interrogate me. And I was in my socks, but I got out I took my shoes off. I was asleep in the bed. I ain't gonna sleep with my shoes on. And I started putting my shoes on, and one deputy sheriff went in behind the camper trailer, the cargo trailer, and he went, holy shit. And he seen that 17-inch print where my dog had dug a hole, a fresh hole, which he did all this weekend down there too. I had to fill in holes back in. Dogs will dig holes. And they found that print. It was right on the back side of the side of the trailer that was being shook from the big one. And anyhow, they had me take my socks off. They looked at my hands, make sure there wasn't no mud on my shoe, on my bare feet, you know. And then I told them, I said, right before you guys got there, I said, these things are growling in the window at me. And then come find out, if you listen to the very end of that, before they even get down there, you can hear a growl, a real nice growl. So I mentioned that on that video on YouTube, that you can hear that on there. I couldn't before because I was more concentrating on listening to talking to the dispatcher when I put the 911 call up on YouTube. But right there at the end, and I heard it, and then I started getting people commenting on there. We heard it too, you know. But
So what did the cops say about the footprint?
They couldn't explain it.
I mean, 17 inches. I mean, why make you take your shoe off? Because I know your foot ain't 17 inches. You know.
Yeah, You know,
And
it's
didn't they find a handprint also on the?
there was two of them. There was two. And they were so wide. One deputy was trying to take his hands and make them as spread out as he could, and you couldn't even touch the top of this cargo trailer. My cargo trailer was 8 foot something.
Right.
You couldn't put your hands up there unless you stood on a step stool or something.
So do you think they believed it when they were looking around and seeing this stuff?
They drove away. All I asked them was before they left, I said, did any of you guys get anything on dash cam? And the DNR officer said, I don't think your guys' dash cams were on, were they? Well, I know damn well they kick on as soon as they start those vehicles up. They're supposed to, as far as I know of. Because now I've got...
So the officer that was running, the one who got scratched up by the thorns and stuff, and you said that he couldn't explain. What do you think happened with him?
He's actually on a Facebook page of mine, but he's under an assumed name.
Right.
And he's really into the Bigfooting thing now too.
So you think he saw one of them or something like that?
Oh yeah.
I just couldn't believe they were walking. You're inside the trailer waiting for them to get there because you said, I'm not getting out of this trailer till you all get here. So it was a serious ordeal, and they come walking down. It's like, oh my gosh, man, they're brave. They just don't know.
Yeah.
There's huge creatures, 8, 9, 10 feet tall, beast out there and they're walking up. Of course, they're armed, and when you have a group, it's a little bit better. Was there 3 officers or what?
Oh no, there was. I'm trying to remember. I think there was 6 of them.
Oh, really?
Went back in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little
Plus
safer.
the DNR officer. Yeah.
What's the DNR officer?
Department of Natural Resources.
Okay, just in case the viewers don't know what that is, Okay, yeah, man, that was very interesting, and I'll put a clip in of that, and then I'll put a link in the description. Another interesting thing I found on your channel was you were going out doing some research at this one location, and you set up a trail cam, and you ended up catching a little Bigfoot. You were saying was a juvenile, but had these little nubs on the forehead. Can you take us through that story and who called you and stuff like that about that? Because that's interesting.
I come home. I went to my. This is going to be what's freaky right after this, because you got to listen to the howl that I've got out here. I've got it set up here for Bluetooth. After I tell you this story here, okay, this research area here is out in the middle of nowhere. It's in a floodplain. It's just down from a dam. And I had been just driving up down the road looking at this swamp, more or less. So I got out of my truck. I seen something duck down black. So I got out, and so I got out and just started filming with my phone, doing a video. And at the end, I took pictures and I posted them on my Facebook page because I didn't have YouTube back then. And that guy, I'm not going to mention his name. He probably don't want to anymore. But anyhow, he did an analysis on the computer on them and on just what I'd seen so far from my phone and doing a video. And so there was multiples in that swamp. So I went back there with the trail camera, and I set out a trail camera out there. And actually, the day before that trail camera, I was out there and threw a jar of peanut butter out there and did a video of it, and the jar of peanut butter come flying back and hit me in the back. They threw the jar of peanut butter back at me. And then when he did analysis on his computer on with the peanut butter, so it looked like it hit a juvenile back in there. So what was kind of freaky was he told me there was multiple juveniles back in there off my video. So I set that trail cam up like a day or two later. Went back out there. I had left it. That was September. That was last year, September. I can't remember the exact date, but it was the beginning of September, maybe right around, it was my vacation time, same time last year. So I set it up, and the grass out there is as tall as my head or higher in spots. And I found one little spot in there that had just one little strand of trees between there and then the swamp trees, which is that tall grass, like sawgrass. And so I decided to set the camera up there, and I went back out the next day, come home, looked at it, went, holy crap. And then I could see it, but before I highlighted it on my phone, you can actually see the eyes glowing on these, there's one peeking over the grass, there's one there's some down at the very bottom of that picture. It's glowing, but their eyes are pretty close. I don't know what they are. Somebody said forest people or something. I don't know. Not about gnomes or anything like that. But this particular one, when I seen his eyes glowing and I seen two nubs on his forehead, and I said, there's no way that's a baby deer with nubs on it. There's no way. So when I highlighted it, holy crap, this thing just come to life. It was like, hell, you can't Photoshop it's straight up off of the picture I've got on YouTube is straight off of my SD card, straight off of a Walmart picture.
Okay. I want to get to this here. I get so upset with people talking about on other channels saying you can't get them on trail cam. This is a picture. My SD card that this was on got took, but it was backfiled on my computer, so I put it back on a new SD card and then took it to Walmart and had a new picture blowed up. Had the same size, and which I had to tell the woman I didn't know the exact size picture. I just said the $5 one. She said, "Oh, okay." This is the juveniles that I got on there, because if I'm gonna pull us back, this grass was as high as my head. That's how I know it's got to be juveniles. Okay. And I know I said this on my last video that I had on here at one time, that it's got nubs on its forehead, which the KDNR officer that had seen a video that I had, or not the video, which one was it? It was my, it was on my Big Knox County Bigfoot organization, first one that got hacked on Facebook. And he seen it, was warning me about it. But anyhow, there's this guy right here, peeking over the grass. See his nose, his eyes, his sloped forehead, his brow ridge right there. Same with this guy. See his nose, cheekbones, his high eyebrow ridge right there, and the sloped forehead going back. This one's got two nubs on him. Then there's this guy right here. He's got his head this way. See his eyebrow ridge right there. His head's turned this direction. Now down in here, off the original, I'd have to blow the whole picture back up like I did off my my computer. But I'm telling you, these juveniles screwed up that night. They really did. Now, the ones that's over here in this corner here, I do have them. Where do I think they're on my new Knox County Bigfoot Organization Facebook. Ohio is what it's underneath now. I think that's on it. But anyhow, there's a mass of something here, but when you get to looking at the original picture on my computer, you can actually see a face right up into the weeds there. And it's pretty tall. But I'll go back to this one again. Now, I did not go out there and have anybody. Now, this is actually early in the morning. It was breaking daylight. I don't remember the time stamp. It was 017. I do remember that. Somewhere around there, 017 military time. So that would put it right at, that early in the morning. But I got them on trail cam. There's that one there, that one. Now down here is possible another one here. Now this one I've looked at this because it's got a funny eyebrow ridge there, but it looks like two ears coming up. I don't know. It's not bears, because this one here, you can actually see part of the face. Maybe it's just anomaly in the grass, but you can actually see its shoulder coming back down here and part of its body right here and down in here. But there's anomalies, not anomalies, but you could see the black that is darker than the black that's in here. See what I'm saying? Now you tell me, did I have a little kid out there in some kind of a demonic looking suit? I'm trying to get this to focus back in again there.
I went to Walmart, blew it up. It cost me $5, and all I have to my name is a cell phone, and I cannot do photoshopping or anything on my phone. Period. If anybody knows anything about that, let me know. But the type of phone I got, you cannot do it on it. But anyhow, you can highlight on it. And that's all I did was highlighting it and darken the creatures up a little bit. And then you could actually see the detail of the nubs of the one. Its eyes are almost looking towards the camera. But the other one is actually looking just up above it, peeking over the grass, and looking straight at the camera. And there's one kind of dead center in there that is kind of turned sideways. You can kind of see a brow ridge that's a little bit taller. But you're talking grass higher or tall or as higher as my head. I'm 5'9". These creatures had to be probably 4 foot tall. And unless they was set down on their knees, If that's the only thing I can explain, because when I finally did make it back in there in the fall, when they moved out of there, you could see just trees busted, rotten trees, where they just dug grubs out of those trees, just tore them all to heck.
If you have the original picture on an SD card, if you want to send me that, man, I will use my stuff to, I've got like Corel Aftershot, I've got the video studio. I can do all kinds of different brightening and contrasting and, just many different things, and whatever works the best, you just have to experiment around, but I can mess with that. And
I just got to remember where I put it here.
Yeah, if
I
you
had
can
it with
find
some
it,
other Bigfoot stuff, but like I said, I've got it in a baggie, and I got.
What you did with it made it pretty clear. So, maybe I could make it where that you could tell more about the eye shine and the face. I don't know.
Well, there's more to that picture. If I can find the SD card, 'cause I had to re-download it on my I had it on my computer and then re-downloaded it onto another SD card because the guy that broke in my house stole my stuff. He followed me home from a conference that I did, and he broke in here during the day while I was gone at work.
Yeah, no, you must have hit a chord somewhere. If you can find it, that would be great. I mean, I would mess around with it and see what I can do with it. But the one you had was pretty good. It's on your channel. So basically, the only two things I'd like you to send me a link to on my email would be a link to your video of the 911 call and a link to the one with the nubs. And then, you don't even have to do that. I can go find them on there. But
I was getting ready to say, I don't know how to do the link things on here.
Yeah, since you just have a phone, it's kind of hard to do. I'll go find them. It's not that big a deal. But if you could send somehow the original picture from the SD, even if you went to a friend's house and sent it or something, I would be more than happy to. I use some of the same stuff that MK Davis uses. As I've watched him a few times, and I've got some of the same stuff he's got. But anyway, so after you had this picture of this creature with these nubs on its forehead, you ended up having someone contact you. Can you tell us about that?
Well, are you talking about the KDNR or KY DNR officer?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He got a hold of me and was telling me, he said he was one of the original DNR officers that was at the LBL. Okay. Now, I don't know how true this story is. It's just what the man told me over the phone. Okay. As far as I know of, he is credible. That's what in the video I did on YouTube about it, I mentioned, he said, don't mention my name. He did tell me where he lived next to the town and everything, and I cannot remember. I have to go back here and look. But I kind of wrote that stuff down, and he's retired. He retired right after what happened there. But apparently this is his story, is that the creature had been...
Just so people know, this is the story about the beast of LBL who... killed the campers and stuff. It's a very famous story, and this guy was there. Okay,
right.
Go ahead.
Which this happened before. This had happened before the bow hunter got killed. Afterwards, by some similar creature. But apparently, I guess they had umpteen deputy sheriffs, which, of course, everybody's heard the story that it got leaked out with a couple of them that went into town. One guy was crying. They sat in front of the store, and a woman heard the story about it. And she went and was telling it. Now she actually goes to conferences and tells her stuff now about it, but I don't know her name. I've never met her. And this all come out new to me about the LBL until this DNR officer got a hold of me. And he actually messaged me and then left a number on there, and I called him, but he wouldn't accept to be on, Facebook or anything of mine, and I talked to him on the phone. And, but anyhow, he said it said it was terrible, the scene. I'm not going to go into details about that because I did on that, and that just tears me up. He said that they had the whole road roped off, caution tape. They said that, people were still trying to get back up through there to find out what was going on because the woman had told people in town what had happened, and they actually thought it was just some kind of a murder went on. So people, of course, wanting to rubberneck and go up there and be nosy, and they ended up finally blocking the roads off completely to that complete area. After they got the bodies out of there, they called in the National Guard. The National Guard come up in there.
Hold on just a second, though. Now, the people that got attacked, was this like if a family that was in a camper, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
he said it was the deputy sheriff's actually got a call later that evening from campers. It was just down not far from the family being camped there, and it was just a couple that was camped down from them, a single couple. And they come back from in town, get something to eat, come back and seen that their campsite was just destroyed. So when they went up there, they seen the gruesome scene. They went into town, because back then they didn't have cell phones. Went back in town, told the sheriffs, and then they didn't want to go back and get their own stuff neither. So, and then that's how it started. But like I said, I don't like going in detail about it. It involved a little boy, a little girl, and a father and a mother, or a father and a mother. But anyhow, he said they was dispatched there. They had even called some DNR officers to help out, because that's wildlife management. As far as when you're thinking it's animal that's out there killing something, you've got to call DNR. That's Department of Natural Resources. And all the thing, they was armed. They're armed with their sidearms, shotguns, but dart guns too. But from the way that they was talking, after they've got all these, you got law enforcement there, and what they was saying, and then they had umpteen coroners there saying that this was some kind of weird attack, and they don't know what it was. So I guess the law enforcement decided to call in the National Guard. Well, they blocked that whole area off back up in there. And from what I understand, they went up in there and dispatched that creature, and they brought it back through there and stopped, and they was all looking at it. And they said its head, they said it took umpteen guys to load this thing up, but its head had 2 rows of teeth on it, had ears on it though that was pointed, kind of like what you call a dog, man, but it had real small ears like a human's on the sides, but the ears going up was tufts of hair, and just had a slight snout to it, not a big snout like a dog, but it had claws on its hands as fingernails, but it had feet like Bigfoot, but had claws on the end of their toes that was real long. And he said that creature that they dispatched had 2 nubs on its forehead. And he was warning me about that after he had seen that picture I posted on YouTube. Now,
that's what made it so interesting, is because the way he described it was that it had dog ears, but it had human ears. It had 2 rows of teeth. But wasn't the teeth like one of them kind of canine teeth and one of them kind of like a row of human teeth?
Yeah, it's kind of like canine teeth.
And then one of them was human.
Yeah, and it had 2 nubs on its forehead, he said.
Yeah, I mean, just to have 2 separate kinds of teeth, that's incredible, man. And to have 2 different sets of ears, man, dude, that's a true monster. And the nubs on the forehead, I just couldn't make out what the heck that is. Could you?
No.
What is that?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I don't know what it is. Now, I'm going to play you a recording. This, from where this picture was taken, was a month or so back. I got this recording off my audio
and
recorder.
This is not LBL, Land Between the Lakes, in Kentucky.
No.
This is in
Ohio. This is in Ohio.
Where you caught this juvenile creature with these nubs at this location.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yep. The KYDNR officer was warning me about. So, anyhow, I've researched this area again this summer, but I don't get out there at night with these creatures. I don't. I don't do it. But I'm going to play this. I'm going to hold the phone up to it so you can hear it. It's on one of my videos on YouTube, but you can still hear It's not a coyote. It's not a wolf. It is something eerie, like what you would hear on Werewolf in London. No kidding. And we don't have wolves here in Ohio. That's the thing. Now, people did get a hold of me and said, we do have coy wolves. They're still a hybrid coyote, is all they are. Their yipe and howl is nothing like a wolf. But we have no wolves here.
Coyotes yelp and stuff like that. They don't really howl.
Yeah, they got a yelp, howl, yelp, yelp, howl, yelp, yelp, howl.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
But a wolf will actually just, like that.
Yeah. So play it. We'll see if we can hear it. And,
okay.
And,
turn the Bluetooth on here.
All right.
Okay, and then I'll hold the phone right up to it. That way you can hear it, and you should be able to hear it pretty good. So I already got it preset here. Okay, could you hear that okay?
Yeah, I could hear a howl, kind of a
yeah. Then it's not a coyote yipe, and it's not. We've even put it on a spectrograph. Tim has, one of the guys that's in my group, and on his computer he got a spectrograph file put on there, and when you take the ambient noise out of it, man, it is just eerie as heck.
Gosh, I wish you had a computer where you could send some of that stuff to me, because I have some good programs to clean stuff like that up, and try to make it where you can isolate certain sounds and things like that. But
well, I'm trying to work on getting a computer right now. So
yeah, I mean, you need one, dude. I mean, you've got some cool stuff going on, and it'd be very helpful on collaborating and things like that with other people.
Yep.
You do a damn good job though for just having a phone, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, you're certainly out there doing it, and making it happen. But yeah, dude. I mean, you really do have some interesting things going on in your area. Now, you were on a show with MK here not too long ago, and I was listening to it, and y'all talked about all kinds of interesting things. Is there anything off of that interview you were with him on that you think is interesting that you could talk about? Because I can't remember exactly what it was, man. I knew it was interesting. It was like, man, I've listened to so much stuff, and take so many reports and stuff. I can't remember what's what anymore.
Yeah, we basically just talked about. I got a report of a dog man here in Ohio a couple weeks back, which, of course, here in Ohio, our apples are coming on. And it was a gentleman, him and his wife called me. They was back in, oh, God, I've had so many reports, it's hard for me to cover them all. This in here is a actual dogman report, because the guy didn't know what the heck a dogman was till he described what it looked like to me. And I was like, oh, God. Does he want me to come out there and look for his thing? Jeez. And anyhow, I have not made it out to his property yet. And to tell you quite honestly, it's just that part of it, I've dealt with seeing a Bigfoot in real life. And then my multiples that I've had encounters with already, the juveniles that I have seen down there in Gambier, the one behind the sheriff's department, dealing with a dog man right now, I don't know if I can handle it, but I'm going to get on with this story. The poor guy said him and his wife went out there and he took a bite out of one of the apples. He told his wife, man, they're good and ripe. He said, let's get these before the deer do, at least start making some pies. Well, he's he had a little trail cut out into his woods there behind his house. And right out, he didn't really have an orchard. He just had multiple trees in his yard. And got a little chicken coop out there. And, but anyhow, he said he's got that trail where he takes, slop. He throws it out there, and then chickens run back there and eat them, this and that and the other off that slop. And it's more or less like a compost pile from food and apple rinds where they clean their apples off to make pies with. They was out there picking these apples, and he kept seeing something going back and forth behind that tree line into the woods there where he had that little trail going back in there. Well, he said he got looking, and something's poking its head right out of the weeds right at him. And it had a dog snout, but he said it's about 8 foot tall. And he called me up because he had went to, it's called the Back 80 movie that come out here a while back, and they asked me to come there and help promote it in Loudonville. So I went there, and then I put out my flyers that just says, Knox County Bigfoot Organization, if you've had a sighting. Well, they went to that trying to find information to get a hold of somebody. They pulled my flyer and called me. So they called me up, and he's telling me about this thing sticking its snout out of the tree line, it's just small saplings, and it sticks its head out of there, and it's just looking at him and his wife. He tells his wife, he says, let's go in the house. So him and his wife's going, why? He says, just go in the house. So they go in there. He goes in there and starts loading up everything he's got in his house. Shotguns, pistols. I think he said he already had one of his pistols loaded up. Then they look out the back window. He's explaining this to his wife of what he's seeing. So they had tuft ears that went straight up like a dog. They had this huge snout with these evil-looking eyes, but it was about 8 foot tall. And he said, what kind of dog stands on its back legs? He works here in town at one of the companies here in town, Mount Vernon here. But he lives out by Mohican State Park off of Beam Road. And I know where he's at. I've been up and down that road. It's creepy. But anyhow, he said he's got to go out in the morning. They don't have a garage connected to their house. He's got to go out early in the morning to get in his vehicle to go to work before daylight. And I just mentioned to him, I said, you got central lights, that'll come on automatically and stuff like that. I said, you need to keep stuff like that around. Just, bright lights on the corner of your houses. Now he's thinking about building a garage that way connected to his house. That way they can park their vehicles inside. But I told him, I said, you don't want these things to scare you off your property. I said, have you had any chickens come up missing? And he says, yeah, but every now and then I'll have one here come up missing, one there come up missing. But they've got cats there, though. They've got, I guess, litters of cats that just keep littering. They're feral cats. And, of course, to a coyote, that's a food source, too, is cats. And people don't believe me. Look it up. You'll find them on the internet with a cat in their mouth. But anyhow, wouldn't it be a food source to a dog man, plus the deer, And they said that was a weird thing, too. Usually they got tons of deer coming up to those apple trees in the morning and in the evening. They was only seeing one or two come up there, but they hadn't seen any in a couple of days until they seen this creature poke its head through the trees right at him. So that's another story there for Knox County here. It's starting to get weirder and weirder to me.
That sounds like the dog man is waiting for the deer to come to the apple.
To the apple tree.
Yeah. It's like this is a good ambush point here,
Yep.
Now you had another friend that plays music, and he recorded something with his iPad through the window. You remember that one?
Oh, that's that Rick. Or Rick Grabnick? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very creepy deal, dude. I mean, that wasn't somebody hoaxing him, I don't think, because when I was watching it, it was coming up leery, looking around, all jerky and weird looking, and it looked humanoid, but it looked. I don't know what to make of it. I couldn't tell if it was Bigfootish or if it was demonic or what the heck it was. But he was on the phone with a friend, and his friend starts praying and stuff, and the thing ended up leaving. Yeah. What did you make of that?
I did. I went out there to his house and actually did. Well, everybody was debunking him. And I had to believe him because I know him and I know the preacher. I know them both. They're both good people, you know, and I don't see why that they would try to hoax that way. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name. It's from England, but anyhow, he did one. But he had to put a post on there showing where he was lifting to prove himself because he had a bungee cord behind the back of a pickup truck under a tire and was lifted because he's a bodybuilder, you know. Of course, you know how these guys are that want to go to the gym. They drink their muscle milk and they like to flex and brag to each other, you know. And I got nothing against Rick about that. But they used that as a leverage against his video of him trying to prove that this creature in his backyard. Well, all the comments on there was, well, this thing just commonly walked back out of there right down along the privacy fence.
Yeah, I mean,
I
watched the whole thing, and I don't see how any of that other stuff would matter. He obviously had something coming to his house, and he had seen it before, so he just sets the iPad up, and he ends up catching this thing. The only thing that kind of was a little bit suspect is he was almost talking about it before it came on the screen, and that's something that someone had pointed out. But he maybe had already seen it before he started recording too. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what he told me. He said, I seen it, Jerry. He said it actually come out from the back through the trees there, and there's a nature center that you cannot deer hunt or anything back in behind where he lives. I actually did another video of going back to that nature center.
Yeah, I seen that. And do you think you could ask him if I could put a clip of that on this show? Because I'm defending him, you know. Because I even liked his music too, man. He's a pretty good musician.
Hey, you probably just PM him. I don't have his phone number here or nothing. I actually did a very first Bigfoot. It's on my Knox County Bigfoot Organization, Ohio, Facebook. But I did one from him and his wife of one they seen off the bike path up there where they live, and not too far from there. But him and his wife said it looked like a juvenile. You know.
So what do you think the thing was that was coming around his house?
I couldn't tell you, dude. I mean,
that was strange.
I don't have enough analysis. Anybody else is doing analysis on it. I still can't look at it that good on my phone. That's all I've got to my phone.
I mean, just the movements of it was very odd. It almost seemed demonic to me. I mean, really.
Yeah, me too. You know.
Yeah. And it didn't seem squatchy. That's for sure, man. It was like, man, this is something not good, dude. You need to start, have the preacher come out and anoint the house or something, because that looked really odd, and I don't believe he was faking it, because that's just not I don't know. It just didn't seem normal, and I'm pretty good at after doing this for a while. Hearing people tell something and what evidence they might have, to, being able to have the old I guess the spidey senses going off or whatever you want to call it on knowing whether or not there's something fishy. That didn't seem fishy to me. It was a very hard topic for him to present, so that
exactly. Then he got ridiculed for it. You know?
Yeah. And usually a deal like that, is something that the ridicule makes him wish that he didn't even come forward with it. And that's why people don't come forward with stuff like that sometimes, because it's hard stuff to believe, man. I've told my own stories, that are hard to believe. And, so, I really don't care if people believe my stories or not. I know my stories are true. I tell them, and
same as me too. That's where I've been too. It's just
you believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I have made a couple points on some videos where I know I kind of PO'd one guy on there. He's got his own channel too, and we went back there, and my dog, like I said, my dog is familiar with Bigfoots, and he'll pick up the scent on them. And if he goes off and he starts backing up on me, I know something's wrong. And so I was back in there, and then coming back out, I was doing another video, and then something attacked me from behind, knocked me down, put scratches right across my damn right arm, but it was gone that quick. All I could see was a brown fur ball. That was it. Like going down the trail because the grass was so freaking high. Well, me and Tim went back in there.
Is that the one where you got grabbed? You're walking in on this place and something grabbed you and you turn around and you're like, something grabbed me, and then you left?
Oh, no, that was something that grabbed my pant leg.
Yeah.
It spun me around. That's a different one. No,
okay.
I got one on there that says I got attacked.
Yeah, I know, man. That was a creepy one there. And you know why I believe you on that one is because I had something similar like that happen to me in my tent. The thing grabbed me 2 different times, Grabbed me through the tent, and he reached in my tent and grabbed me. These things do some little, it's almost like the Bigfoot outlaws call it count and coup. Like they're messing with you and, bragging about it to each other or something. I don't know, man.
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't imagine why the hell the thing would...
Not really belly crawl, but they'll be down on all fours and sneak and just lay in that grass. But I think they lay in that grass to conserve energy and to ambush. And, of course, I'm walking through that tall freaking grass again. Something grabs my pant leg, spun me around, and took off that fast. And I'm in that video. I look back at the video now, and I laugh my ass off because how scared I had to go home and change my britches.
Yeah. No, it was pretty funny. But, it's funny, but it's not funny, you know what I'm saying?
Well, as a researcher, to me, after I could still watch my own video of that now. It scared the living, it did out of me, and I had to go home and change my britches. But
that's how good that's how good they are at hiding and sneaking up.
Especially the juveniles like it. You can actually go to a site, which I'm not saying these creatures are primate, but they've got primate distinctive to them, like gorillas. And there's these people that go out into the Congo and observe these, and they'll be in an open spot while a male gorilla comes up there, and what does he do? He just grabs a woman's pant leg, spins her around, drops her pant leg, and just runs off. Just played with her. They knew the creature was there, though, But still, it's the same aspect is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because, while I was in my tent, I show in a video that I made on it that my shoulder was bulging the side of the tent out because the tent's only like 5 foot wide and I'm 6 foot tall, so I'm laying diagonally in this thing and my shoulder's bulging out the side, and it grabs my shoulder that's bulging the side of the tent out, and it was feeling me. It was like this, like squish, 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 like it was like, what's that kind of thing. And then I swatted at it like 3-4 times, and I could feel my elbow hitting it, pap, 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 and and within 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds, I was kind of turned a little bit because my head's up by the door of the tent. And I had it half unzipped where it was lapped down. So the top circle, because it was like a round type door on the top, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
It's lapped down about 2 feet because it was hot, man. You know, it was in summertime in August, and but anyway, I saw the arm coming in, and it reached down and it felt my other shoulder. It reached down and actually grabbed my shoulder and like squish, 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 and if it wanted to, dude, I mean, I didn't even see an elbow, and this tent maybe is 5 feet tall. So it's reaching in. It had to at least reach 3 feet in. I mean, I didn't notice an elbow, so that's a heck of a big forearm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And it reached down in there, and where there was a full moon that night. When it shines on that real light blue tent that's in the video, I show that tent. It made the whole inside of the tent really pretty dang bright, man. I could see in there really well because it ended up being like a spider coming down off of getting in the tent, and it was dropping down. I saw that spider coming down. I whacked it, and it popped over into the corner, and I was looking for it and stuff like that. But I mean, I saw so good that I could see the hair on this thing's arm, and the hair was short, and that's what made me kind of think about what you were saying. They must shed in the summer. Because this hair was not long. It was like a tan with darker splotches of brown, and the hair went all the way down onto the back of the hand, but then the fingers and stuff it didn't look like it had hair on it. It was like a dark gray. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because it was night, but it was lit pretty good, and I could see the hair on it really well, and it only looked to be like a half-inch long. And that's what it looked like to me. Maybe I might be wrong about it, but man, that scared me pretty bad. I didn't know whether to get out of the tent or stay in the tent or what, because I was worried that he was going to pick the tent up. Because I was thinking of that one story where that guy got picked up in a sleeping bag.
Albert Altsman.
Yes, no, that's exactly what I was thinking about, dude. I was like, oh no, man, but I was scared to
better
get
have
out,
some tobacco for him.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like I've only got a couple cigarettes left over here. I don't know if I can put this thing down with some tobacco. But and my flashlight batteries were, I was trying to conserve them because we couldn't find batteries that weekend. Not enough for the flashlight I had like 4 AA's, and my friend only found 2 AA's out of all the marinas we went to. And but anyway, the first night we got there, it had gotten dark because he loafed around for too dang long, and after I got down to where he was waiting for me and stuff, we loaded everything in the boat and the truck and everything. We ended up getting there, and it was dark, and it was really bad overcast that first night, so it was black dark. I mean,
it's black, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a full moon, so a new moon or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But where the cloud cover was there, and it was overcast, it was covering that, so it was really, really, really dark that first night. The second night, when I had the thing reach in and grab me, that had all blown over, and there was a full moon, and it was big, huge, bright, and you could see everything. It's almost like daylight. But anyway, when we first got there that first night, I was packing some gear, the tent and all that kind of stuff, up to the campsite because we was wanting to get it up there, get the tent set up so we could have a place to sleep. And up in the maybe 50, 60 yards. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell distance sometimes. Because it's kind of sloping uphill towards the wood line. But in the wood line, maybe 60 yards, let's say, there's glowing red eyes. And I did not have the flashlight pointed at it. And I know there's debates about that, but my little light I had has a really narrow beam. It's bright, don't get me wrong, but it's a narrow beam. It's only bright where you point it, you know what I mean? You can shine it.
That's how my tactical one is. I thought it'd be great this weekend, and I had it out there. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it only puts it. You know, when you point it at something, it puts a narrow beam of light in one area. And I had the light pointed down at the ground because I was, you know, throwing the stuff on the ground there, the tent and the cooler and, you know, and all that kind of stuff, because it's kind of rocky ground from where you park the boat, and you got to go up a little bit of a climb, and levels out a little bit, and, you know, where you camp and stuff. And I looked up over at the edge of the woods, and I saw these red eyes looking at us. And it was glowing when I looked up there. And then I flipped the light up to it, and it didn't make it glow anymore. I mean, you know, and I said, "What the hell is that?" And my friend's like, "Bigfoot," because he knows what I do, you know what I mean? So I was like, "Dude, I mean, you know, don't be messing with me, man. I'm serious, dude. Did you not just see those red eyes?" You know, they were looking at us, and then they turned, and they cut across the woods and probably ran like, I bet you they ran damn near 75 to 100 yards in seconds, man. It wasn't long at all. It was like boom, and it wasn't bobbing up and down. It was just smooth. It glided. And it makes me wonder sometimes when people think they see orbs gliding through, if that's not their eyes, because when the Bigfoot runs, they're like a snow skier. There's not up and down. You know what I'm saying? Because these things cruised across. It was real smooth, man, and just amazing how these creatures move, dude. And
that's what happened to my cousins up in Michigan. Now, you listen to other, you know, Bigfoot outlaws, they say it's probably from the ambient light turning their eyes on from, like, the moonshine, you know, the shine of the moon.
There was no moon that night, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Now, my cousins, they was out there fishing at Irving Dam up in Michigan, and this was years before I moved up there. My Uncle Jake wasn't scared of nothing. He carried a 38 on him. They're all down there fishing. They're fishing below the dam there. They're catfishing. And Jake, he liked his bluegills, panfish, you know. And my family's from Maitland, West Virginia. You know, they're hardcore. They don't believe in they believe in suspicious, or what do you call it? Because they're Christian.
Superstition.
It's kind of like demonic things that happen in the woods. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Now they would talk about the wood bugger, you know, down there, especially when we go down there as kids. Guys, got to get in here, and wood buggers out there to get you, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I kind of wonder if the
but these guys was fishing, and it was after dark, and these two red eyes. There was no moonlight, no nothing, and all they had was flashlights. But it was the old chromy looking style ones that just took the two double D batteries and stuff like that with one little light bulb in it.
Yeah.
But they'd flash it over there, and the lights go away. But they'd take the light off of it, and the red eyes would pop back up. Then this thing, they said they could hear it breathing and chasing them off the riverbank. And they said my Uncle Jake wasn't scared enough. I'm not kidding you. He's a coon hunter and everything like that.
Right.
He passed everybody up and was at the vehicles before anybody else could. My cousin Edson, he could hear this thing behind him breathing down his neck.
Right. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that I know anything about what it is, like supernatural or anything. But lightning bugs can light up. There's creatures in the ocean that can glow. So why is there not some?
We got glowworms here in the United States too, you know. Yeah, that's and I think this is my opinion with the Bigfoots, Sasquatch, buggers, whatever you want to call them. I think they've got maybe a blood pressure problem, that they get pissed off at something, if somebody's in their area, and their eyes do glow automatically. You know, it could happen. I could see that. We all have blood pressure.
And it might help them see at night. There's something strange about their eyes, and it doesn't mean it's supernatural. It can be completely explainable by science if we add their eye to look at. Because a lightning bug, I mean, heck, fire, man, dude, those things light up. There's creatures in the ocean, they glow in the dark, you know? And so why couldn't there be some kind of mechanism in the eye of these things to help them see at night somehow? Because I've heard way too many reports of people talking about, no, their eyes were lit, you know? And I know what I saw, it was dark. It was so dark, I had to have my flashlight out to be able to get the camping gear up there because I could not see at all. I mean, I couldn't see nothing. It was really, really dark because the overcast, it rained for like the first day we were there, and then it cleared off, and then the next night it was a very, very bright night. And these eyes were red. They were up in the forest looking at us, and they had red. They looked like two little red lights, you know, like LED lights or whatever. Not super bright, not shining a beam out or nothing, but yeah, they were very bright, and it was and I didn't know what to make of it at first. That's why I pointed my light up there, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" You know, and yeah. But anyway, man.
I totally believe that. I really do. I totally believe that they probably got something that can illuminate when they need to. Maybe it's a warning to us that we're not just hitting them in the eyes or something. Maybe it's a warning, hey, dudes, I'm standing here, don't come in my area. You know? It's, I do. There's so many things about these creatures that's unexplained. But like other people say, you go to a conference and everybody there's an expert, you know, and I don't know. Off? Hello?
Sorry, man. The microphone was kind of messing up or something there. But yeah, I agree with you, dude. There's something more to these things, and it's you know, there's just really no good way to try to pinpoint it all, other than just collect the information and try to see what you make of it, you know.
Right, you know.
That's why I think that some people like bash the researchers who, you know, collect the stories, but I think that the collecting of the stories is as important as the going out in the field and collecting evidence, because how many foot tracks you need casted? How many stick structures do you need pictures of? You know, how many blurry pictures, or, you know, there's always those dilemmas because they're hard to catch on camera due to focus issues, because the cameras usually have like a, you know, autofocus. That's why I was trying to get a camera that has manual focus so I could maybe get something in focus.
That's what somebody told me to buy, was get the autofocus ones.
No, the manual focus, so that you can focus it yourself and you can set your depth of field. And you know, I was a broadcaster and I was a videographer, shot news and stuff like that. And I'm telling you that the manual focus would be handy, especially if you're, you know, learn to use it. Because
that's what I meant, the manual focus. Yeah. That's what I was talking about, the manual focus, not the autofocus. So
if you're in the field and you know, you think that you might find something 100 yards away, you zoom into something 100 yards away, you focus your camera and then zoom back out. And everything between you and that 100 yards is going to be in focus when you zoom in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're setting your depth
Instead
of field.
Instead of like my phone, I could zoom out that my phone will fade in and out where it's trying to focus on something.
Right.
But if I do it and I'm in depth, if I'm in depth inside a thicket and I zoom out with my phone, because it's not autofocus, but it's manual, but still my phone is not set up. What it'll do, you send it out, but it's going to be focusing on the closest leaf that's next to me.
Right,
Not
yeah.
out as far as it's supposed to go,
right.
you know?
It's constantly adjusting your depth of field. The depth of field basically means if I zoom in to something that's 100 yards away, I zoom all the way to that, and then I set my focus where that thing at 100 yards is in focus. I can zoom back out, and I'm going to have everything from 100 yards maybe to 25 yards that's going to be in focus. And anything closer than that might be out of focus, 25 or closer. So you have from the 25 yard to the 100 yard, that's called your depth of field. You have a field of, from 25 to 100, there's 75 yards that would be in focus. So anything that you're capturing in that, so you would have to guesstimate where, you know what I'm saying, how far something might end up being. But you can also rack focus. If you see something, you can grab your lens and twist the ring by the lens. If it's
like a scope on a gun, same thing.
It might be a little out of focus. You twist that ring a couple times, boom, boom, and bam. It's
focus it back in.
That's called rack focus. So if you can rack focus, even if it's a little further than 100 yards, you can rack out to it, and that's used in movies. A lot of times it makes the hallway look like it's getting longer, or sometimes they'll do it in reverse and make it look shorter. Like if you're moving towards your object, zooming out, racking focus, it'll make the hallway get shorter. Like if you have a villain in the background, it'll look like he's standing behind the guy, 20 feet, and then as you're moving toward him, zooming out, so you keep him at the same size in the screen, but you're rack focusing as you're going. It'll make it seem like the hallway shrunk down from being 50 feet long to 10, and it makes a really scary kind of, those are the kind of things I learned in broadcasting, because I was constantly trying to figure out more cool stuff to do, in the news stories and what have you. Not a whole lot of opportunities to use stuff like that, but, unless it's a Halloween story or something, soft news package, but yeah, it would be handy. And then one of the people that is on, I can't remember what that show was called, but he did something with his camera where he turned something off, and it was like overexposed everything, so everything looked like snow. It looked like snow was on everything, but the stuff in the shadows would be perfectly in view, basically. And so if something was hiding in the bushes would look bright white, like it has snowed on them, but stuff in the bushes would be in vision perfectly. And that was how he was going to try to cut out the Bigfoot's hiding in the dark, in the bushes and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, that's brilliant, man. And I think he did that with the iris and the shutter somehow. He was doing something with that to manipulate the way that the camera would overexpose the stuff that was lit good, and then the stuff that was not lit good, it would make that in focus and in a good quality kind of picture. So I would like to even try that. Have maybe two different cameras, one set up like that, and then the other, just for trying to get the depth of field right and go out, because you can catch these things, man. They're out there. They're out there a lot more than people think too. You might not even see them as you're filming around, but when you get home, you'll see them, and because they're that good at hiding. But I mean, I've been deer hunting before and been sitting there waiting for a deer to come by and gawking, right straight out in front of me, just sitting there daydreaming. And all of a sudden realize there's a deer standing right there. It's like, dang, man, that blended in really good, and then you have to try to do something to make it move so you can tell if it had a rack or not, because sometimes doe weren't you weren't able to get the doe. But last time I was hunting, you couldn't take a doe, you could take a buck. And so all of a sudden I seen this deer, but I couldn't tell because all the brush and stuff, I couldn't tell if it had horns or not. So I had to do that, and it picked its head up, and that particular one didn't have a rack on it. So it's like, man, that sucks. I can't take that one. And but even animals blend good. So these Bigfoot, they know what they're doing.
I don't believe in cloaking. I
don't either. I think they're smart.
Number one. They're number one champions of hiding. And
right. And I think maybe they might have some of the hair samples that have been found seem to be kind of a translucent type hair. And if you take the hair and you hold it up to something that is dark, the hair looks dark. If you hold it up to something that looks light, the hair looks light. So that is like a brilliant camouflage. Go
to my video that I did this weekend. Well, not just the weekend, but early into this week of my vacation when I was out there researching. The last day, I posted on there, it says, I'd like to help that baby squirrel, okay? You'll see a baby squirrel on the side of the tree. I got it zoomed up, and I'm like 10 feet away from it. But the way my camera, the light is coming from the sun because it's just got up high enough. But the greenery off of that plant, and he's behind it, has turned him green almost.
Yeah.
And I seen the same thing on Mr. Dodson's, on the one that got captured behind the greenery there, too. It wasn't cloaked. It was just an illuminated light that breathed onto that creature. But you could make out the whole face and everything,
Right. Yeah, no, it's I think there's a lot of good explanations that seem supernatural, but are explainable by science. It just it's incredible type science, a hair that
I believe that their strength has just got to be unbelievable. I mean, it's just got to be. Now, if you take, for instance, that trackway that I found, it's on one of my videos. I found it back in February, end of February, and this trackway, I got two right to the left footprints on a deer path that had froze over. It was 26 inches, but when I'm filming it, and I'll keep saying 23 inches on the track, but I've got the roller 4 inches up from where I'm filming.
Yeah.
Or 3 inches at least.
Another thing I think that comes off kind of supernatural too is the ability these things have to do infrasound and ultrasound.
Well, that I've got to believe in because I have gotten it before. I've gotten it many times.
Made me sick one time. And I know that there's one story on Sasquatch Chronicles that really was just amazing. But this guy was in his house, and his window was vibrating. He had double pane windows he paid a lot of money for, and they were like just... It was vibrating so bad that he thought the windows were going to fall out. And he's looking out the window, and he's seen this little baby deer. His ears were twitching, and he kind of had his head down, and his head was all twitchy and stuff, and he'd pick one foot up, and it'd go down, and then his back foot would come up, and it'd go down. And he was like, what the heck is going on with that deer? This thing is getting hit with this, whatever's vibrating this window. And he noticed behind that deer was a huge figure, and he was the one making this sound, and he ended up whacking on the window, and the thing stopped. The window stopped vibrating, and deer took off. And I've collected a few stories, man, where people, these one people from Utah, basically went and found this deer, and it was standing there all confused looking, because I think it had been hit with infrasound and been chased and stuff, and it was just, exhausted and delusional, basically, not knowing what was going on. And he went up and grabbed this deer by the horns and was sitting there petting it. He called his family. They came down with the kids, and they petted it for like a couple hours. They took pictures and everything of it. And then after a couple hours, this thing started kind of waking back up and took off. And out of all the Bigfoot activity they had, with killing their dogs and stealing their feed, and they seen the things several times, females, males, and all, and plus he got hurt by the thing. The thing actually reached in a camper and was holding him down, pressing on his back as he was sleeping in the camper, and pressed him so hard.
Gosh.
Yeah, it broke 3 of his ribs, and it broke the bed he was on. It was one of those campers where the bed was up above, and when the bed broke, he rolled off into the floor and passed out. It traumatized him so bad, and and he ended up having 3 broke ribs, and we were speculating why the thing was holding him down, but I think it was holding him down because they were there stealing some stuff, some more of the feed and dog food and that kind of stuff, and trying to get out of there. But very interesting stuff. And that's why I think that the collecting the stories is very important. I have some cool stuff coming up, man. I'm gonna be collecting. I'm not really sure exactly what's all in some of these stories, but it's gonna be fun. And also for everybody out there who's listening, this is the 9/7/2017. Now, on the 9th and the 10th, 2 days from now, Saturday and Sunday, basically, is Cryptid Con. And this is in Frankfort, Kentucky, at the, I don't have my glasses on, Capitol Plaza Hotel. Capitol Plaza Hotel in Frankfort, Kentucky. Cryptid Con. There's going to be television personalities there. I don't know really who's going to be there. But also there's going to be, I guess, YouTubers there, because they sent me these free passes so that I can go. I guess they're just trying to get you to be able to bring some of your fans and stuff, whoever, that they can send stuff to that's known, But Frankfort, Kentucky, Capitol Plaza Hotel, Saturday and Sunday. Maybe Google it or something. I have a press release they sent me, but I kept downloading it and I couldn't find it anywhere on the computer. So I'll try to make a video later tonight on just this CryptidCon thing. But, look it up. CryptidCon, Capitol Plaza Hotel, Frankfort, Kentucky. And you could get there. It's on Saturday and Sunday. I think it's like $15 or something like that to go. And I'm going to do everything I can go. If anybody wants to contribute to help me go, you can go to the link in the description, PayPal me, and you can help me go. Because I would really like to go down there and stay, stay in the motel for the night and then be able to be there Saturday and Sunday. And I'll do like a couple live broadcasts from there. Live streams, and then I'll look for stories, whoever the personalities are, I'll try to get them on camera and, get interviews with them, but, there's going to be a lot of experiencers there, and I'll try to hunt down people that have had encounters and get a bunch of videos, get them all, and if I can go down there and stay, then I'll take my computer with me, and I'll download all the information the first night and then do it again the next night and try to get 5 or 6 or whatever shows out of it I can get. And it should be really cool. I've never been to one, so I don't know exactly what they do at them. And we'll see. But, yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you. Where is Frankfort, Kentucky from you? I know you're in Lexington. I know where exactly Lexington is.
It's north of me. It's the capital of Kentucky, for one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's north of me. I think it's up near...
Florence, Kentucky?
No, I think it's up near, like, the border, more close to the border. I'm in, like, the central area of Kentucky. Frankfort is, like, up near Indiana, that kind of area up in there.
Oh, right corner, probably where Indiana and Ohio and Kentucky meet.
And Louisville is, too. But Frankfort is a little west of Louisville. Louisville's another one of the big towns. You got Lexington, Louisville, and Frankfort. I think Frankfort's more to the west. I used to go there to do when I was doing news, but it's been such a long time I kind of forget exactly where it's at. But we'd have to go up there and interview senators and stuff like that sometimes. But anyway, it's an hour and a half or 2 hours away from where I'm at. And but if you live in Ohio or you live in Missouri, these states that kind of touch Kentucky there, you probably aren't that much further away than I am. So you could easily go. And
that's this weekend, correct?
Correct. Yes, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
It should be a really cool event. He said that there's going to be personalities there, TV personalities. I don't know if that's like the Finding Bigfoot people or Monster Quest or what some of the other shows. I don't know.
Right.
But I think Linda Godfrey. I heard from another person who's a researcher said Linda Godfrey's supposed to be there, and so I would assume like Linda Godfrey, maybe Blackburn, that fella, and maybe Finding Bigfoot people.
Yeah, I like Linda. She's pretty good person. She's on my Facebook page, and
I hear that about her. I've not met her yet, and I would really love to.
Really nice, really great person, and oh my gosh, she's and her books are phenomenal. She's really wrote a lot of books, and anybody could get out there and. Like
she was a newscaster. She was a person who was in the same business I was in when I was younger. Cause she worked in news basically, and so when she started out with the covering the Michigan Dogman thing and stuff like that, then I think it turned into something, and she was able to get out of the news business. Because it was better money, and in the other way, the cryptid business was just better ordeal altogether. So, yeah.
But it sounds like she's had some really neat experiences herself, too, though,
Right.
Same as all of us other people. That's how we got into this. The experiences of it.
You start messing around with it, you're going to have an experience or two. And I wasn't even looking for my experiences, dude. I wasn't out hunting. I just happened to pick a couple camping places, and I covered this stuff. I was interviewing people about their experiences, and if it wasn't for that, I may not have even noticed the first experience. I would have explained it away, you know what I mean? But it's like, when you have trees being pushed over and limbs cracking and stuff being thrown at you, the dog's freaking out, hiding in the tent, and all that kind of stuff. And, and I seen something run between...
Camper trailers getting shook back and forth.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you'll explain that away, as a bear or whatever. But I was like, it's like, hey, man, I cover this stuff, and I'm sitting there explaining all this away. and I seen the thing run from one tree to the next and kind of disappeared. And I seen, barely seen a few times where it was hopping through, and I could only see it from like the waist up. But if I wasn't privy to some of the information, I would just said that was a dude in a hoodie. But I mean, it's like because it was springtime, he could have been wearing something. Because this particular one seemed to have the sagittal crest, and because I was only seeing it from a side profile, as it was traveling across, and I was at first thinking, well, there's a dude up there with a hoodie on. Maybe he's up there collecting worms, because that's what I was doing when I was going up in the woods, is turning logs over and finding red worms and stuff like that to fish with. But when I got to asking, there was no other campsites around. And so then the throwing stuff at me, and the 4 trees being pushed over. 4. I mean, whole trees, dude, cracking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just too much. The first one, I was like, dang, okay, a tree fell. Second one, oh, wow, that's pretty wild. 2 trees fell. Third one, it's like, hell no, there's something going on, It's like, you don't hear that many trees falling. I mean, they were huge cracks. If you've ever heard a tree be pushed over, you'll hear and then it's like as the thing falls to the ground. It's a heck of a commotion, man. And for that to happen 4 times, it was just too much. It's like, no, there's something going on here. And
that's what was happening to me, where I found those 26-inch footprints. I went back up in that wood.
Dude, that's huge, man. 26 inch, that's a monster, dude.
Could you imagine the size of that?
That's a mountain giant, dude. I think you've encountered a few types. 26 inch. That's more of the mountain.
And I
giant
documented
type.
them. I got an SD card here that's in the drawer, and it didn't get took, but I documented those tracks. Plus, I got them on video. And
I mean, that's amazing.
But the thing of it is, that particular same woods, I went in mushroom hunting, and I had a juvenile parallel me, and I could see him. I was filming him. I said, here we go, guys. And I'm whispering. I said, a mushroom hunt? Bigfoot, one standing right in front of me. I'm charging up through there. Got to the damn top of this little knoll where he's at. And he was behind a down piece of just the top of a tree. And he was down behind that. And he took up, and there was one little spot of clearing. And I got a whole nice half footprint on that video. It's on YouTube. Okay. And I got up over there. I found mushrooms. Well, I went back down, and I started going down through the swamp thicket down through there, where there's ash trees down there. That's where you want to look for mushrooms, around the elms, ash trees. I had to stop and take a leak. So I hung my mushrooms up on a limb, and because I had them in an onion sack, and I took my leak, and oh my gosh, it's like hell broke loose behind me. Trees started flaming, busting, and being shoved over. I'm talking trees that was over 6 inches to 7 inches through, and I couldn't tuck my stuff in fast enough. I got lost in there. Then I had to look at the ridge line to my right to figure out that's where I just come from the juvenile. And this was not the juvenile that was doing this behind me. So apparently there was a dominant male, and I was in his territory, urinating in his territory. And he got all pissed. I finally made it out to the trail, and I just collapsed. I fell down, laid down there, was catching my breath, and I finally got back up around there, and I did another video because I thought I was still doing the video off of that one, and I hadn't even. It was like one of these people said they started shooting at one, clicked all their shells out of their gun, but they never fired a shot. Same thing here. I thought I was filming, pushed the button while all this was going on. Finally made it out of there. I was in a panic. I was having, where you're breathing real fast. What do they call that? You got to breathe in a bag. Hyperventilating.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And then the infrasound was hitting me too. I was starting to get that vertigo feeling. I was like, oh, I finally made it out there, and I collapsed.
That's why that's one of the reasons I think that these things are kind of dangerous to be going looking for. I think that if you want to research them, you should go camp in places you think they might be and let them come to you.
Let them research you. I said that last night on my video.
Right, because I think that I didn't even know you said that, but I think going into their areas.
No, on the video that I did from camping yesterday, I did a follow-up video of my own on YouTube.
Because you're not going to sneak up on them and catch them. You're just not. Matter of fact, they can sneak up beside you and grab your pant leg. So the times that we hear, we can hear people saying, I heard them crashing through the woods, or I heard them walking beside parallel, making sound. They want you to hear that because they can do it without you hearing it. Somehow they can. So the only times you're going to hear or see them is when they don't care. So to me, I think that you're better off. When I go to this particular camping spot, and I end up having encounters with them. And when I go poking around into their area, the encounters get closer at night, you know. And so it's like, I don't know, man, better not go poke around.
They're observing us.
Yeah, because I was up there, and I had the feeling the whole time, man, while I was up there on that big hillside, and there was these logs laid out across the whole hillside, all in a line, dude. I mean, they were one log, and another log laid next to tail end to that one, and another log laid tail. They were in a perfect line all the way up the freaking mountain. And I knew that was the boundary, and there's a big arch bent over, like the entrance to the whole thing. You know what I mean? It was bent over to the ground, and I knew, I had the feeling anyway that don't go past that. You know, just don't do it. It was just a feeling, man. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't get those kind of feelings ever, except in a deal like that, you know. And I was like, I don't think I want to go past that. I had a feeling like I'm not supposed to be up there. So I backed off, you know. And it was like, no. Yeah. And then that night, boy, the tension came way closer because I didn't ever go up there before. And when I did, they came down to my area to let me know. We come into your area if you want to try all that, you know. You want to get you a little dose of your own medicine there, you know. But anyway, Jerry, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing, man. We'll have to have you back and talk about some more
being
cool
on your
stuff.
show again. It was great being on your show, or not again, but talking to you again, I should say.
Yeah.
And doing this on your show. Heck, man, there's just so much stuff, man, you relate to.
Yeah, well, we'll have to have you back, man. You got 10 times the amount of stuff we just talked about to talk about. Whenever I watch your stuff, you know, I watch your stuff, and it's like I can't even think of all the things when I'm talking to you. But you got lots of cool stuff to talk about. So we'll have to have you back and let the fans soak us in a little bit, and then we'll and I'll get back in touch with you, and we'll.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to make it to that Cryptid Con too. Now,
okay. Awesome.
Now, send me a message or something if you're going to be able to make it, and I'll Google it up tonight and see how far and how long it'll take me, and but I still have to get the motor home ready and everything, because I'd probably just bring my motor home.
Yeah, well, if you do, then I could stay up there and not have to drive back. Yeah. That's kind of one of my main worries, because I you know, YouTube is taking a hit here lately, so the money thing is kind of not so good for most YouTubers.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so you know, it is what it is. But it's Saturday and Sunday. I was wanting to drive up and go to it Saturday, But if I have to drive back, then I don't know if I could get there again someday. Even if, so, if you were to come up there and have a motorhome, dude, if you didn't care, I'd crash out with you. And we'll make a bunch of videos.
Yeah, I got extra space,
Yeah, all I need is a little spot, man. I sleep, chair or whatever, I mean, that'd be kind of cool, I mean, it's like, yeah, dude, it's awesome. And if anyone wants to contribute to help with this trip, you have to do it today, because this is Thursday. If you wait till tomorrow, then you would never be able to transfer any kind of funding over to your bank account. It wouldn't be available till Monday. But yeah, so I'll need to get this video done. And
yep, I'll let you off so you can get that phone. So
all right, man.
Yep, so we can help Cryptid out, and
yeah,
and I'll try to make it there. Lord willing,
we'll both have some really cool stuff to show on our channels, man. If we'll get a bunch of video of everything going on there, and it would be fun to watch. I guarantee you that. But thank you, Jerry. We'll talk to you later, brother.
Hey, you're welcome. Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
All right, hold on the line there as I finish this up.
Okay.
Everybody out there in YouTube land, thank you for listening. And if you got something you want to share here on this show, you can contact me at brentonsawin@gmail.com. If you want to contribute to help with going to Crypticon and help with this channel here, you can go to a link in the description, PayPal me, and that's very much appreciated. And you all have helped keep me afloat many times. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next video.